All right. You're listening to the 2Ds, One podcast. And my name's Dan.
I'm Dan.
And that's Dan. I'm Dan Johnson. That's Dan Matthews. And then do you have a penis?
Yeah, sure
Yep.
do.
Yep. So we both have dicks. Okay. We're both dads. What are some other traits that start with D that we have?
Dang, we should probably have new ones ready each episode, right?
Right.
I haven't really thought about it a whole lot after that.
Yeah.
I'm not on a diet, so that doesn't count.
No, neither am I. I'm getting fat, dude.
Dude, I hate diets.
Yeah. Wait a second. What about, like, for me, I catch myself doing douchebaggy things sometimes, and I'm kind of like sometimes I admit, hey, dude, I'm a bit of a douchebag. Do you ever find yourself doing douchebag things?
Yeah, quite a bit. I think it could definitely be the 2D Bags podcast also.
just a couple douchebags talking about what are some characteristics of a douchebag?
Man, I feel like they just talk about themselves all the time.
Yep.
That's got to be the number one.
Yeah.
And I actually had a guy who we were going to get fitted for my buddy's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always liked to like wrestle or grapple or like jujitsu. I got into that for a while. And so, I mean, we were all hanging out. We had a couple drinks and I was like, dude, we should totally wrestle. And apparently that rubbed one of the guys the wrong way that I didn't know. And for like 2 years, he was calling me a douchebag. And I had that was the only interaction I had ever had with him. And then we were at another mutual friend's bachelor party. And it was like, dude, Brock's coming and he doesn't like you at all. And I'm like, I don't even know who Brock is. He's like, he thinks you're a total bro. And I was like, all right, why? And he's like, because you guys you talked about wrestling at whoever's fitting. And I was like, really? That's it? Like, that's all I had to do? I can't even imagine what most people think of me if that's all it took for him to think I'm a bro or I'm a douchebag. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, it's kind of ironic that a dude who literally has bro in his name is calling me bro. Yeah. And so the whole bachelor party, we went down to Arkansas and floated on one of the rivers. And the whole time I was just instigating, like just waiting. Come on, man, say something. I hear for a long time you've been saying something behind my back. And so I'm just like, yeah, man, I'm just a total bro.
Just waiting for this guy to pop off. And I'm just like
looking, and there's just nothing. I mean, just like straight ahead.
So did this other guy wrestle or do jujitsu?
No, so in college we had submission nights where we would just everybody would get together and it was like Fight Club, right? If you showed up, you just had to roll with somebody at some point. So we would clear out all the couches. And I mean, that's all the experience that I had for a long time was watching UFC, watching YouTube videos of jiu-jitsu. And then we would just there were no weight classes. I legitimately wrestled a dude one time. His name was Luke. He was 6'11" and 360 pounds. I called him Big Minnie because he was from Minnesota. And it was just I would hold on to his leg, and that's about all I could do.
Dude, that's how you get hurt real bad.
Yeah, I mean, back then I was fun. 18, 19, just you feel indestructible at that point. So
right, just imagine someone going up to you and you in this conversation. Here's what would make you a douchebag is if you would go, hey, dude, I got fighting experience. Oh, you do? Yeah, I watched Fight Club when I was younger. And that gives you the right to say you have fighting experience.
Yeah.
Or you're just like, yeah, okay, guys, in order for us to get better, we got to watch Rocky or Karate Kid, and then we're going to have fight night at our house. And that is the training that you did is sitting down, drinking beers and watching movies with a lot of fight scenes in it.
Yeah. I saw Black Hawk Down. I'm going to go invade another country.
Yeah, I thought the Marine Corps was pretty cool, man. I saw the movie Platoon, and I knew I could do it. I knew I could do it. Looked fun.
So we've got a decent definition of D-bags down, but what about what do you call the guys who are the I almost joined the army or I almost joined the military guys.
Well, that's me.
That's you.
I'm that guy.
You're that guy who's got like all of the military surplus stuff
Oh
and is like
no, I don't have the
you know what I'm
surplus stuff.
talking about though? The guy who wears like retired camo pattern army pants.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, dude, I almost joined. And he's super into airsoft usually. Like, what's that name?
That's a different version of douchebag. It's
Oh,
like,
okay.
you know how there's, classifications of a bird, but there's hundreds, if not thousands of different birds, right?
Yeah.
We have the, specific types of douchebag. We have the bro douchebag that you were talking about. We have I'm going to call the money douchebag, and I will give you an example of the money douchebag. They talk about money all the time, how much money they make, how much, things cost. Like, oh yeah, this car probably couldn't
They
afford
make
it.
sure
'cause
you see their watch when they're talking to you.
That's the story I was going to tell you. All right. So my buddy and his wife were out to dinner with another couple. Okay. And I showed up out of the blue. Like I just ran into them and they're like, sit down with us for a little bit. And this guy, he was dressed in like some kind of financial, it looked like he had just gotten off work, but we're in a small town. There's no, like, maybe he worked at a bank or something. I don't know what this guy was doing, but he sat there with this watch kind of up by his face, and he was doing this with his hand all night long, just like shaking his wrist like this and adjusting his watch until finally I just baited him in. Or, well, he was baiting me in to ask the question, and I just asked it. I'm like, hey, that's a pretty nice watch. And he's like, oh, this thing? And then he starts breaking it down. I don't even know what it was like. It wasn't a Rolex, right? But it was like a high-end watch or, high-end watch for Iowa, whatever this guy did. And
it was an Iowa 10 as far as watches go.
Exactly. It wasn't a Casio, but it wasn't a Rolex, right? So it was somewhere in between there. And this guy just went off about this watch, how much money it was, why it's so special, or maybe it was rare or shit, I don't know. But I've never wanted to rob anybody before, but there's a line from a DMX rap song where DMX is like, how much does that watch cost? You're about to get that watch lost. And meaning he's going to rob him. And so I wanted to rob that dude so bad because he was a douchebag, right? He was a douchebag.
See, I feel like in those cases, I just want to have a ton of information about watches.
Yeah.
And then be like, ooh, dude, I don't want to be the guy to tell you this, but that's a fake.
That's a fake.
Like, here's the thing.
No, I got papers on it.
The dial on that specific one should actually be, and just like demoralize him. Dude, it's probably worth like 100. I mean, it's still good quality. It's a high quality fake. You might be able to get a couple $100 for it, but.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I've always thought that was kind of funny when people would do that, or like new tattoos. I've seen that a lot with tattoos. Someone gets a new tattoo and they're always just like
sitting and itching it. The healing process.
Oh yeah, sorry man, just got some new ink. Yeah. It's still,
is that a tribal tattoo of around barbed wire? Like, okay, so in Iowa, one of the college football players from back in the day, he was like one of the first people to ever get the barbed wire around the bicep.
Oh yeah.
Right? And his name was Tim Dwight. I don't know if you know who Tim Dwight is. Iowa punt returner, Iowa receiver. He went and played in the NFL as a punt returner, and so he was quick. He was fast.
Yeah.
And then we knew this guy, and he also had a barbed wire tattoo, but he didn't finish it on the inside of his bicep because it hurt so bad. So we just made fun of him. Oh my God. It's like, why didn't you finish the tattoo, pussy? Like,
you're tough enough to have a barbed wire tattoo on the bicep, but not tough enough to finish it.
Yep.
Oh.
And so what he did was he took two lines and then he put 2 lines so it looks like it goes into his skin instead of finishing it all the way. And we're just like, dude, you know, we all know why you stopped, because you're a pussy.
Yeah.
Right? You're a pussy. And by the way, I miss the days where you could call, like my son, if he called another kid a pussy at school, he would get kicked out of school.
Oh yeah.
Man, there's a couple, like, pussy. Like,
Yeah.
that's the best definition of a man who is weak, or just like tries something and quits or whatever. It's just like, dude's a pussy. You know,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. man.
I mean, there's literally nothing else that holds the same weight.
Exactly.
You can call him a weenie.
Yeah.
You can call him a wuss.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of different names, but there's nothing that carries the same weight. Like, everybody knows.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows. So this guy, kind of going back to that story, he's just sitting there, and the whole night is just like, and I'm just like, I walked out of, I had to walk out because I could not sit there and listen to this guy talk about his watch anymore. And like, I've never had patience for people like that. I'm not even good at faking it. I just stand up and leave because I can't do it.
Dude, I've always wanted to be like the unassuming multimillionaire where it's like someone's talking about all this stuff. Oh yeah, dude, this is what I got. Dude, check this out. I just bought a I don't even know. I'm not super into cars, so I was going to try to come up with like a car that would be that guy's car.
It's either a Corvette, right? So a Corvette is a car, especially these days, that it's not like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, or, you know, there's a jump. Like a Corvette is a somewhat, depending on what package you get, a somewhat affordable, fancy sports car. So like when you see someone driving a Corvette, you're like, hey, they've probably made good life decisions and they have some money. Maybe they're
about to lose their house.
Or they're about to lose their house, but you know, they're okay. You see, there's a town in Iowa where there's one guy, and I lived in this town for a handful of years, and he had a neon purple and green Lamborghinis. So this guy, he had step up.
He had real money.
He had some more money. He had bigger than Corvette money. And so he had two Lambos. I don't know what this guy did, but he would drive them in town, like to go to the grocery store. And so he had enough money to go, you know what? I'm just going to buy 2 Lambos, and I'm going to, in this shithole town. And you know what? Maybe they weren't even Lambos. They were just like the body of a Lambo with like
car.
With a Ford Taurus engine in it or some bullshit where they couldn't even go 80.
All the small town Iowa chicks with a couple fake cars because none of them have ever actually seen a real Lambo.
Seen it. Yeah. And then you get to, like, have you ever been to Miami before?
Yeah.
Then you go to Miami where like a Ferrari and a Lamborghini are a dime a dozen.
Yep.
Right. And then I don't know, like a Rolls Royce or a Bugatti, or I don't even know, like some like rare Aston Martin or something like that is where you start to get up in the prices, and like everybody has them. And then in those scenarios, you don't even know if it's their car or they're just renting it for a day, right? Just to flex. Like, oh, I got $5,000.
That's a weird lifestyle to think about.
Yeah, to fake.
I mean, driving in a lot of places in Florida, you drive around and you'll just see a yacht that's worth $100 million. It's like, oh, and everybody knows whose yacht it is. Like all the locals, I'll be talking to my brother-in-law or a friend down there, and they're like, oh yeah, dude, the guy who owns the Yankees, that's his yacht.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy invented pedigree dog food.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know, as if I'm like, oh yeah, Tim.
Yeah.
Like, I know Tim.
I know Tim.
No, I have no idea who that dude is.
Right. Imagine, and that's the other kind of douche. There's another kind of douchebag, and that's the douchebags that fake like their lifestyle. Imagine going on Instagram and taking a picture of this, like um, there's a company out there that it's the fuselage of a private jet, and it's got the seats in it, but there's no wings. It's only used for pictures.
Dude, I've seen that. People rent it out to do their Instagram
Their
stuff.
Instagram, like, hey, I'm on a private jet, follow me, and we can do anything. And then they get out, and then they go back to their like studio apartment in the shittiest part of town or whatever. And so the people who do that and fake their success and fake their lifestyle is another version of a douchebag.
Dude, what's crazy though is with social media, how quickly faking that by renting out a Ferrari, by renting out the cabin of an airplane, by renting out these things, they're going to get immediate credibility from people online that have no idea that it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
And now they will actually be like maybe not that level where they're in a private jet, but making easy six figures.
Yeah.
I think about the fake it till you make it people are like the trailer park guys with a brand new Charger, right? they're the car in the driveway is worth way more than the house.
Exactly.
And typically there's like 2 or 3 decent cars in the driveway.
Yeah.
And it's like they drive it around everywhere. It's like, oh man, that's a sweet car. That's a cool car. And then they go back to the trailer. And I'm not knocking trailers. Like, dude, I've lived in trailers for multiple years in my life.
Yeah.
But it's like there's a certain level of when I'm out in public, I want people to see this.
Yeah.
But not know where I'm actually from.
Imagine going to a bar in nice clothes or like a club, and you pull up in this really nice vehicle, and girls are like, oh, who the hell is this guy? Who's this guy? And you're in there, you're talking your game, and it's time to go. You pull the chick, she gets the car, and you take her back to a trailer court. And she's like, wait a second. And then she calls the police on you because she feels like she's been catfished.
On the way home, you got to text your mom like, hey, Mom, bringing a girl home.
Yeah.
Like, you and Dad stay in your room.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's happened. That's happened.
100%. I guarantee that's happened. Also, I think the best car, and it's terrible because I know a lot of people who own them now. The best car for the watch guy, is a Tesla. It seems like all of the watch guys drive Teslas now.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
The Cybertruck. The Cybertruck was the coolest thing, and now there's like 150 of them. I mean, I see multiple a day at this point, and I remember the first time I saw one, I'm like, no way, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And
now it's like they're getting them custom paint jobs because they want to be different still. And I'm like, at the end of the day, you're driving around an RC car.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when, society ends and there's no electricity, how are you going to charge your vehicles? You won't. You'll die because there's no Uber Eats or delivery systems anymore either.
Listen, I don't think those guys are planning way ahead. Okay.
No, exactly.
The watch guy is not a planner.
I actually had something written down today, and I want to come back to this, but I want to finish this douchebag competition. I'm going to write it right here. I'm going to write my note.
We're one-upping each other with douchebag stories.
Yep. So the guy who fakes it is a douchebag, but the people who believe him or maybe even know he's faking it but still follow him, and if they ever see him in public, they're like, oh my God, you're awesome. Those are also douchebags.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Come to think of it, I think I probably have more douchebag in my blood than I previously thought. Because there was a time, dude. I'll tell you what. There was a time back in the day.
We're coming out as douchebags on this podcast.
I'll tell you what, man. There was a time back in the day, probably around college, that early 20s time frame, where I was a douchebag, right? Just going back in time, if I could go back in time and be invisible and listen to the way that I talked to certain people, or maybe even to girls to try to pick them up. Holy shit. I would have come out of invisibility, tapped myself on the shoulder, punched myself in the face, and called myself a douchebag, and then time traveled back to the present. So
how long do you think you could last hanging out with your D-bag self?
See, this is where it gets real weird, because there was certain times when I was a douchebag where I was also strong as fuck and quick to get angry and things like that, where I would have no, like, this old dude's coming in here talking shit. I'll knock him out. Right. And right now, I probably don't think that I could successfully fight and win against my past self. Right. Especially if that past version of myself was like 12 beers deep, right?
Yeah.
That dude felt no pain and he wouldn't stop. He'd go to jail. But the version of myself now would be able to outsmart him by like snapping my fingers on one side, and then I would look, and then I would come with the punch from the other side. Like, that's how
look
dumb.
At this over here.
Shake my keys like a baby. Like, hey, look at these, and then punch myself.
He shine a laser pointer on the wall.
Yep.
Remember when those were cool? Just he's like, "Whoa, where'd that laser come from?"
So yeah, the douchebag.
How did you just get beat up all the time, Dan?
Oh man, I was lucky. I was big. Right. I was, obviously over 6 foot, and I was over 200 pounds at my max in college. I was like 240. And so 6'1", 240, yeah, people would talk shit, but they usually didn't do anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I wasn't the biggest guy that I hung out with. Right. I didn't even fight a lot. And because I think I was that guy who I looked big. I would say the right things, and then people didn't want to fight me because of that. But now in today's world, right? Because back in the day, 25 years ago, there wasn't the martial arts jiu-jitsu craze that there was.
Yeah.
And now you talk shit to a guy who looks like Harry Potter, and he's going to break your arm off because you have no clue if this dude trains or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Dude, the first time I ever went to an actual jiu-jitsu gym, they pinned me with this dude who is like, he's a purple belt. Okay. And in my mind, purple, I'm like, that's a stupid color. You know, like I didn't know what the belts meant. I just knew like black belt is what you wanted to get to. And so I go and I'm rolling with this purple belt, and it takes him about 12 seconds and I'm tapping. Yeah. And so now I get upset. So now I'm like, all right, I'm going to go hard, because at first I'm thinking we're just like, training. And no, like you're supposed to be trying to tap each other out. You're supposed to be submitting each other. And I remember he's got me in his guard. I'm on top, and I've got his gi. So we're going gi, which is a totally different ball game than just like rolling
Street
around
fight.
anyways.
Yeah.
And so I'm on top of him, got both sides of his gi, and he's calm as can be. I'm sweating because I'm so like angry and trying so hard. And he just really calmly, laying on his back, goes, "Hey dude, technique is better than strength all day long." And I'm like that pissed me off even more. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that this guy is 40 pounds lighter than me and just one after the next submitting me and speaking, not heavy breathing, nothing.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, okay. And I'd get him to a point where I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to do 2 steps and have him in an arm bar. And before I know it, my face is against the mat and he's got me in like an ankle hold or a knee bar or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the most frustrating and humbling thing ever.
And you just blew your load way too quick. You got gassed out. You had no technique. You were just trying to horse him.
I remember going home and like I couldn't pick things up without my forearms just burning.
Yeah.
It was that was humbling for sure. And after that, I was very intent on paying attention to everything our instructor said, like every single thing.
Back in the day, there used to be a core group when I played rugby when I was in college, and I hung out with guys who like I wrestled in middle school and my freshman year in high school, and then after that I quit, but which I regret. I should have stayed in wrestling. Long story short, there used to be a group of people that you knew what they did, how they did it, and you never fucked with them.
Yeah.
But now in today's world, nobody knows who those people are anymore. Those lines have been blurred, and the guys, don't get me wrong, there's guys that can fight really well, and it's more of a mental or a personality thing that makes them like kind of scary. But at the same time, dude, so many people are packing guns now these days that they didn't used to pack back in the day. And so
Yeah.
it's like, and dude, I know guys who I look, I know they carry all the time, but I'm just like, dude, you and a gun do not match. Yeah, I know what, take that however you want to take it, but they're that guy. It's like get cut off in traffic. Maybe they don't say anything, but someone gets out of the car and it comes at them. They're already gun out of the car. You know,
Yeah.
like, oh, step backwards, go backwards. I am not like, it's almost like they want some shit to go down.
They
Like
do, for
those
sure.
are the scariest people.
It's the Walmart open carry guys
Yeah.
that walk around, their shirts tucked in. They have a way oversized pistol on their hip. And I'm like, let's just go logistically, right? You're a guy who's casing a place to rob it. You have any intelligence about you whatsoever. The first person you are going to kill is the guy who has a giant pistol on his hip.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I'm like, I've never understood the open carry guys. That it just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I get the open carry thing, but I think it's more of a personnel. Like, are you open carrying because you want to look cool to carry a gun, or are you really concerned about your safety? Like, that's two different things. The guy that I saw, are you familiar with a Menards? What Menards is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
Menards.
I used to work for Menards.
Okay, Menards. It's like a Lowe's or a Home Depot, but it's throughout the Midwest.
Yep.
This dude gets out of his like the oldest Escalade that you could ever have, right? So he tells
Gen 1.
Yeah, this guy's a douchebag because he owns an Escalade. He tells everybody he owns an Escalade, but it's the very first Escalade that ever came out, rusted wheel wells, whatever. The dude is wearing mesh shorts and a wife beater tank top, and he has the gun in a holster clipped to his mesh shorts, and they're not tight, so the gun is sagging down by his thigh, and as he's walking around, it's just flopping. The gun is flopping with his mesh shorts. And I'm just like, that guy's a douchebag. But I'm also not going to say or do anything to him because he's also the guy who pulls his gun out and just, it's not really self-defense. It would be more of a gray murder area with this guy. Right? You talk shit to that guy, he pulls up, feels threatened, shoots you.
I got a feeling that dude gets for sure charged if he ever actually has to use that gun.
Right. Yeah. So he goes to jail for murder.
Yep.
No, yeah, buddy.
I carry with me all the time. Like I've got one, but it's never my first thought, right? Like as a guy, you go into a room and you're like, dude, what if somebody broke in here right now? Like, what would I do? What would I hit him with? Would I throw this at him? I mean, it's just kind of a weird guy thing. But in thinking about actually having to pull my gun out and point it at somebody, have you ever had a gun pointed at you?
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird
scary
feeling for sure.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine being the dude on the holding end of that, right?
Yeah.
Like I had a guy point a gun at my face, and it was weird because I didn't know. I never knew how I would respond. At that time, I didn't have a wife or kids, and so I'm sure it would be way different now.
Yeah.
But I remember just looking at him and like, dude, put the gun down. Like, you want to fight? We'll fight. I mean, we had it coming. Me and my brother had it coming. My brother came home drunk, told me he had just gotten jumped at the neighbor's apartment. And so I was like, well, that's not going to fly. I'm in bed about to fall asleep, but I'm like, dude, it's my brother, I hop up, we go down there, I start pounding on the door. I've got like a club in my hand because I'm thinking, dude, if you got jumped by 4 or 5 guys, like you're saying, we're going to need some help. And we go down there and nobody's answering. And all of a sudden this guy comes around the side of the apartment, probably 10 feet away, gun pointed. And it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, he's got the gun as if he knows exactly what he's doing.
Right.
And I'm just like, oh, well, that changes things. Like this club's not going to help me a whole lot. So I like set it down. And I'm like, dude, if you want to fight, let's fight. And the whole interaction with him maybe lasted a minute. He told me like, dude, you've got 5 seconds before I shoot you. And so I start backing up and he's counting down. And I'm like, so I back up.
Okay, this guy's going to shoot me.
I back up far enough to where he stops counting.
Yeah.
And And then out of nowhere, he knew, I don't know what the deal was with him, but he just takes off. Like,
Yeah.
boom, gone. And I'm thinking, okay, now now what? Do we call the cops? What do we do? So we did. We ended up calling the cops, and they found him. They found the gun. They came in. They were like, "Is this a gun? Is this a guy?" And we're like, "Yeah." And then a couple days later, we went out there. I jumped his car. My brother came in. He goes, "You want to jump the neighbor?" I'm like, "Dude, no, we're not doing this." He didn't tell me the car. Like in my mind, he's wanting to go beat up the neighbor.
Oh, steal a car?
No, he wanted to jump. He came in and he goes, "Hey, dude, can you come jump the neighbor?" And I was like, "What? No, this is too." I mean, this is days after.
Okay.
And in my mind, I'm thinking he wants to beat this guy up. His car battery was dead and it needed a jump. And so I'm like, "Dude, why don't you say that? Like, hey, the neighbor's car is dead. Can you come jump it?"
Yeah, let's go jump this bastard.
Not, let's go jump the neighbor. And so, anyways, it ended up being the same guy. And he's like, "Hey, man, I'm really sorry about the other night, you know?" And I'm like, "Dude, it's all good." Like,
man, I'm starting to feel like I'm starting to learn things about you that I didn't know. Like you go from getting guns, like the stories that you've told in previous episodes of you like making out with too many girls at church camp to now like fighting and getting guns pulled at you and smoking weed when you're 12. Like this is like there's two versions of Dan Matthews here, dude.
Oh, I've lived a weird life that I'm the guy that people thinks is lying a lot about stories, but I've just done a lot of stuff, you know? And in my mind, I like to tell stories. I think everybody probably has had a really interesting life.
Yeah. And
they just don't remember all of the things that went with it. Yeah. The other day, the first episode we recorded, you asked me about all my jobs.
Yeah.
Since you asked me about those jobs and I told you I remembered them all, I think I've stated 3 or 4 jobs on this podcast that I didn't tell you in that first episode, you know?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people just have a lot of interesting things that happen that they forget about.
Yeah.
You know?
So I was, man, it would have been like 2002 or something like that. I would have been in college. It would have been my junior or senior year in college. And so there was this hill that had all the bars on it. We called it the Hill. Yeah. And so after you go to the hill and you drink till, you know, you're dumb, then everybody would go down to the bottom of the hill. And then there's this pizza joint. And they sold the most best tasting pizza that there ever was. Sober, it sucked. Right. So you're like, "Oh, dude, we're going to the Stein, dude. We're going to eat some pizza. Let's go." And then they had a little window and you order it through the window so you don't have to go into the bar. And it was just lines of kids. Well, one day I don't know why I didn't get food, but it was me, a guy I kind of knew, just like, you know how sometimes you go out and you just meet up with these groups of people, the groups shift. And so me and this one group that they didn't really hang out with me and I really didn't hang out with them, but we knew each other because we would cross at parties and things like that. And this car pulls up and this dude pulls out a gun and he swipes it across the crowd, just like swipes it across the crowd and then puts it on the outside of his door, just holding it against his door. Okay. And he's looking at people and he's acting tough. Like, "Who wants to step up?" I think that's what he said. And this guy that I was with, he was drunk as shit. He walked straight right up to him, grabbed the gun out of his hand and pistol whipped him in the seat of this car like 3 or 4 times, threw the gun back in the car, and they took off. And I'm just like, there's gonna be a drive-by shooting right now. Like, all you've done is like, and then so we just all left, but nobody really knew what the hell was going on. But this guy had balls of steel to walk up, take a gun out of a hand, and smoke people. Like, just smoked him 3 times in the face. It was nuts. I was scared as shit. Like, I was ready to piss my pants because since then it's the only time I've ever had a gun pulled on me and pointed at me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. Like I kind of froze. I was trying to slowly like shuffle my body through all these people that kind of run to the side of the building. But this other guy walked straight. I wish I knew the dude's name. I'd give him a shout out. But
Dude.
imagine getting hit in the face with a gun. You know how how much that would hurt?
Dude, the weight of those, I mean, he had to have broken cheekbones or like
Or nose or knocked
nose,
teeth out of
eye
his face
socket,
or
whatever.
something.
That's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I mean, you think about different things that could be used as weapons. I went to school with a guy named Drew Foster. No idea where he's at, what he's doing now.
Shout
But
out,
he was
Drew.
like, he was that guy. So he came from a family that was pretty well to do. I mean, back then I was super poor, so like everybody seemed rich, but like he seemed like they were doing pretty good. But dude, he always just had a chip on his shoulder for whatever reason. And him and his little brother, they were both like skater kids. They were into like playing guitar. But you didn't mess with them. And unless you knew them, you didn't know not to mess with them. And so we're sitting at lunch one day and we had an open lunch. You could leave the high school and like walk to a Taco Bell or whatever, or you could stay there. Well, we're sitting in this little like exit hallway, right? It's just an emergency exit doors. And all of a sudden these kids all come. I mean, there's like 8 of them. They walk in. They're like, we heard you jumped one of my boys, right? Small town, Wisconsin. They think they're in a gang or something. We heard you jumped one of my boys. Well, Eric, Drew's brother, stands up and he's like, you know, which one are you talking about? And it turns out like they got in a fight on the school bus. Eric's younger. He beats this kid up. So now all of his buddies are coming to back him up. Well, Drew stands up and literally just takes his tray of food and dumps it on the dude's feet who's coming to start a fight. And he just starts tapping the edge of it on his hand. And I'm like, I have never seen a school lunch tray look so intimidating. I started thinking, that thing would hurt so bad to get smacked with.
Yeah.
And he's like, you need to leave right now. There's 3 of us and 8 of them. We would have gotten destroyed.
Yeah.
But the amount of confidence that Drew had, and I mean, it was enough confidence that all of us were like, dude, we're in.
Yeah.
We are 100% in right now.
Yeah.
And so these guys were like, we didn't think we didn't think everybody would be so down to fight. We thought we'd come like scare the crap out of them. And yeah, they all took off. He's like, no, I'm telling you right now, turn around and walk away. And he kind of looks at his buddies and all his buddies are already starting to turn. And so they all just left. And I was like, that's some confidence. Somebody called him a skater fag one time and he hit him with the trucks of his skateboard. Like the metal part, just boof right across the face.
I've seen a skateboard fight before.
That's not fun.
It was crazy. These I wasn't. They were older, and I was walking through the city park in the town that I used to live in. Like it was a town square, and they had sidewalks from the corners going to this fountain, and there was kids doing like tricks on the park benches and on the fountain, and some guy comes up to him and is like, "Hey, you can't be here. You know, I've warned you before, you can't be here." And this kid took a skateboard, picked it up, and just smoked this dude right in the side of the head. And I'm like, I got to get out of here because I don't want to be associated with this.
I don't want these kids to beat me up.
Oh my God. Just people. Like, I feel like there's less of this craziness than there was back in the day because of guns and self-defense. That's what I'm getting at.
I feel like some of it, I feel like it's more pent up and then like people do something really stupid. But back in the day, it was just kind of a common thing. Like
you're going to
fight.
People
don't talk crap. Fights. You fight. You know, like if you want to fight, let's fight. If not, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
It was just kind of that number.
Yeah.
If like my cousin in high school, somebody grabbed her butt. Well, I'm like the only boy in my family. So I go, I'm going to go deal with it. So I go and confront the guy. And it's like, there's none of that anymore.
Yeah.
It's like
got to call the cops. I've been assaulted.
Yeah.
Type shit.
Masculine men are non-existent.
Yeah.
But also to that note, like you get worried about who you're messing with now. I mean, dead giveaway for anyone listening. If they have cauliflower ear, probably don't fight him. Like that's a really good place to start.
Yep.
Don't fight some dude with cauliflower ear because he's been around.
He's been trained, right?
He knows what he's doing. Your YouTube videos and your UFC fight nights with your buddies is not going to hold up at all.
Yeah.
But I feel like those guys, and then anyone who used to be fat.
Like, don't mess with the people who used to be fat but are now in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, even if they've lost any decent amount of weight, if they were fat growing up through school, odds are they're a little bit tougher. Yeah. Like they've got some aggression that they need to get out somewhere. And crazy fighters are also scary. They're the ones who are just like envisioning their childhood bully's face as they're beating yours into the concrete.
Yeah.
And it's
guys
like,
who
dude, stop.
They don't say shit. They just explode, right?
Yep, they just explode.
My grandpa told me one time, after he told me this, like, I don't know, we had like a heart-to-heart. Remember last episode I told you about like the
this was
worst
after the joke fell flat.
The joke. He ends up like we started talking about something and he just goes, I've always lived kind of by one rule, and that's don't fight a guy wearing cowboy boots. Now, I don't know, because I feel like a guy who wears cowboy boots in certain areas of the United States might be tough, right? Because they're farm tough, they're farm strong. Yeah. Like I had a buddy, he lived on a farm. He didn't look like it, but he had a grip on his hands. Like he could crush you. Like he could crush anything that got a hold of him. But going back to the butt, you're some guy grabbing your cousin's butt, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in a bar. Oh, man, I was early 20s. I was probably 21 years old. And back then, they still, in these bars, were filling up glass pitchers. So the big, heavy glass pitchers. Okay. 2 chicks at the bar, drop dead gorgeous. And I mean, they were smokers. I mean, they were smoking hot. Some dude, meathead, just ripped to shit, comes up behind them, and they're sitting on a bar stool, and he takes his hands and he puts his hands down the back of their pants so deep that he then could like curl his wrists forward and get all of it. Like he was getting the front and the back, and pulled it out and like started to like he was drunk. And this chick grabbed a glass pitcher full of beer and came around and smoked him right in the face with this. The glass pitcher shattered, and the dude had a Joker cut on his, like this, all the way up. It cut his mouth, and it cut about 2 inches up on his cheek. And so he had his lips closed. So it hit him. He took a step back, and he goes, and the flaps on his cheek went, and blood just misted across this bar. It was the gnarliest thing that I have ever seen in my life. Like this dude to this day, wherever this dude is at, has permanent damage because of like he's got a scar like the Joker that comes up his cheek.
And now imagine like people asking him that story. Dude, how'd you get that scar, man?
Oh,
I mean, I don't know if you ask a guy with a scar like that how they got the scar, or if it's just kind of like, oh, I never even noticed it.
Yeah,
you know?
Dude. I mean, but what would he? It's like dudes who coach big bucks, right? It's like, hey, how'd you get that buck? You have to lie about it because
every time,
because this guy is like, oh, I sexually assaulted 2 chicks and she defended herself by hitting me with a glass pitcher. Like
that's not
right. Like that's not a cool story, dude. Yeah. You're a douchebag.
Oh man, so I didn't do the whole bar scene a whole lot. I'll get into a couple other stories because you said that pizza joint, and I used to help my butt. I'd never worked there, but I would just help out when it would get busy. But we were down in Florida one time, and my wife and I were dating or newly engaged, maybe, and we're at this like a proper Florida club, not like a beach club. Outside they had the beach club. Inside was a proper club. And
what's a proper club?
I mean, when I say like a proper club, I'm not saying it's like a trashy bar with a dance floor. Like this looked like a high-end club where, you know,
like the movies,
would be
like the movie Scarface.
One that you would see in a movie.
A lot
And
different than the bars that I went to when I got into Florida. Like we went into we thought was a club. It was accidental. We did this, so don't throw any shit my way. But
oh
it was just a
no.
whole bunch of gay dudes dancing, and I was
You're
like,
like, where
"This
are all
is
the chicks, man?
yeah,
They'll be
this is
here
the
soon,
wrong
right? Let's
place.
just
This is the wrong place. Let's go. Let's go." We had to pull my buddy out of there because he's like, the name of the place I think was called Scores. And so we're like, hey, we can go in here. Let's catch a game, get some wings. We walk in there. It's just a whole bunch of dudes dancing with each other. And we're just like, huh, yeah, let's maybe find someplace else.
yeah, I'm out, dude.
I'm
I'm
out.
100% out. No, we were here, and I mean they had like the DJ up front and all the lights and everything,
Yep.
and I can't remember. I think I was walking back to the bar to grab a drink, and I look over, and there is a girl up against a pillar. There was like a 1.5 2 foot wide pillar in the like on the edge of the room, and this guy's got her by the throat up against this pillar.
Oh, shit.
That's not flying with me. I look over and I see my buddy Brad, who's like your size, and I go, Brad, and I nod the guy's way. I'm already making a line there. Brad gets there 2 seconds before I do, and full sprint checks this dude. The guy leaves his feet and hits the wall that was like 8 feet behind him.
Yeah.
So now Brad and I are both face to face with this guy, and he's still like thinking he's gonna fight us. All of a sudden, bouncers come from everywhere, and they're like, "You're all gone! You're all gone!" And I'm like, that guy had a girl against the pillar by the throat, and nobody did anything about it. So we jumped in.
Mhm.
And sure enough, the bartender, he's like, dude, I saw the whole thing. These two are good. Well, then I see these 6 bouncers just drag this dude off. And I'm thinking, I really hope they just beat the tar out of him. Like, just a couple good licks. Like, you're never welcome back here. Don't treat women like that. You've learned your lesson type of thing. Because to me, I'm like, dude, that takes, I don't know. I've never ever been in that position where like I'm going to grab a woman by the throat.
Yeah.
And especially in public. Like
Right.
this is something that
so
that
there
guy's
was
been
a time?
doing. No.
There was a time where you got like pretty pissed and choked a chick?
Never ever.
Okay.
But obviously not in public. Like think
You got to stop saying that. You got to stop saying not in public.
No.
'Cause that
But
implies
it's a
that you're
different
choking
level.
chicks.
Listen, I would never do that, period. But
Okay.
you have to
All right.
understand there is a different level to doing it. Like domestic assault happens and that sucks. And I hate that for anybody involved. But for someone to do it in front of a bunch of people, you know that
yeah.
person is a piece of shit that's been doing it for decades behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was trying to get at is
Yeah.
the fact that it's progressed to that in a crowded setting where you're choking a woman, like you deserve to just get hospitalized.
Yeah.
You know?
If you choke chicks, you're a douchebag. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you choke a chick, you're a douchebag. Don't choke chicks.
Yeah. You might just buy a watch instead.
Exactly. Dude, if you want to be a douchebag so bad, there's so many levels.
There are ways to do it.
You don't need to go choking chicks out. You can just buy a douchebag watch, drive a douchebag car, like dress a douchebag way, right?
That's
many.
what they're trying to do, right? They're not trying to just be cool. They're actually like, how douchey can I be today?
Exactly. And so like, imagine if being a douchebag was like Scientology and you had to go through like the steps. It's like, well, today I want to take a step up to level 35. I got to choke a chick if I want to be here today. And so I'm going to be out here choking chicks.
Hold on, dude. You just bought a Tesla.
Yeah.
Didn't you just open carry yesterday? You can't advance that quickly.
Right.
Like you have to go from open carry through these other steps. I like it.
Here's a correlation that I just thought of. Do you think dudes who own Teslas are less or more likely to commit domestic abuse?
Shoot. I think less.
I also think less. I think
Yeah.
way less. I think dudes who own Teslas, and this again, this is I'm speaking in general terms here. I think dudes who own Teslas actually have more of a chance being domestically abused by their wives than they do. Does that make sense?
I don't know why I just laughed about that.
But it's true. It's true. It's like I'm such a weak. I'm so weak. I bought this Tesla. This Tesla.
You didn't plug it in, babe.
Oh yeah, just getting whipped by the cord by the wife when he gets home, right? Oh my God.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dude, wait. I just can't imagine being in that position, period. Like
being abused physically by your wife.
just even in a setting where that
Yeah.
type of thing is going on, like it really does suck to think about. My mom grew up in a setting like that where that type of stuff was happening, and that it like pisses me off so much. I wish I had a superpower. Like I wish I could go around and deal with those types of people. Like if I was Superman, but I couldn't use my powers for anything except for dealing with those guys.
Yeah.
Like I would give up all the money I've ever made to be able to do that.
Karma.
Oh,
That
dude,
would be your superpower
yeah.
name, dude. That would be your superpower name, Karma. And
Karma.
all you do is go and beat the shit and like hospitalize dudes who have hurt children and women.
Dude, it would be even
That's a
better
book.
if I was a shapeshifter. Like I could take the form of someone else. So instead of being this like Superman showing up, flying in, just like da 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 da, I show up and I'm just this tiny like 110-pound girl that just like crazy, like punches you through the drywall.
Yeah.
Like that would be even better because then they'd be like, okay, I'm never ever gonna do this again. So like I fly there, totally normal, show up, all of a sudden, boom, those people only see a tiny girl.
Right.
Everyone else is just like, dude, he just got his ass whooped.
I
Was awesome.
think on the next episode we need to maybe unpack a little bit about why you decided to shapeshift into a very tiny woman and not like another man per se. So like there's
Because,
this whole.
dude, I'm thinking about how humiliating it would be for that dude.
I get it.
Like
I
he's
get it,
been
but I think
beating
that
on
there's
women.
I think there's some subconscious things that we got to try to figure out though.
Oh
first.
yeah, no, some Freudian stuff. Is that what you're getting at, Dan? You're the one who walked into a gay bar with your buddies. I didn't give you crap about that. No, I'm just kidding. I
know.
think, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it'd be kind of funny, and I got the idea of dealing with people like that came from. Did you ever watch An Idiot Abroad? If you haven't,
was that on MTV?
I don't know. We watched it on whatever streaming, like Hulu or Netflix or something, years after it had aired.
Yeah,
but
no, I don't think I've seen it.
It was a Ricky Gervais thing that he put on. His buddy Carl Pilkington was this shut-in dude, didn't really like being out, didn't like traveling. He was still in the same relationship with this lady for like 11 years. No signs of marriage anytime soon. And he just like, my life is comfortable. I don't want to change it. Well, they pay for him to go and experience the world, and the commentary
I
that
have
this guy,
seen this now.
Yes,
I have. He's
It's
uncomfortable
phenomenal.
all the time, right?
always. He's like,
Yes.
why? And his thought process of things, like he goes to the Taj Mahal, right? And he's looking at it, and he's like, people are so excited about the Taj Mahal. Like, what a great gift. And all I'm thinking is like, what did that guy do? Like, what did he do that this is his apology?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm going to build this just for you, babe. And anyways, in one of the episodes, he talks about being bullshit man, and how if he had a superpower, it would be when people are saying bullshit, he flies over there and he's like, no, that's a lie. That's bullshit. And he calls him out, and they go, so your superpower is knowing that they're telling a lie? Yes. So how would you effectively get to him? And he's like, I would fly there. Oh, so that's your other superpower, is flying. But how would you know that he was telling a lie from that far away? Well, super hearing. And so they unpack this thing where they're like, we asked you for one superpower, and now you have a whole personality
bunch of
with
them.
multiple powers,
Right.
just so you could be like, you're lying.
You're a liar. But wouldn't that be sweet? Though,
That'd be so sweet.
Let's say, I don't know, we're in a public setting, and you can get into somebody's mind, and it's a douchebag, right? And he's lying about something, and you're like, actually, that's not true. Actually, what happened in this scenario is you peed your pants and shit your pants, and you ran away like a little bitch. And so, well, you weren't there. How do you know? I'm good at picking this stuff up, right?
Just trust
you're
me,
not,
man.
You're not
I'm good at reading people.
Yeah, you're not this guy. You're not him. You're not.
Also,
not
you just rented that car.
Yeah, that's a rental. Right?
I like it. I feel like we could come up with some pretty good superhero movies that are just like real life dudes get superpowers, and they're just normal dudes, but with awesome powers.
Yeah, I think that we need to start writing some of this shit down so that when we end up releasing these episodes, that no one steals our ideas, because a guy like what
Karma is coming out in 2026, and we're
Mr.
like, dang
Mr.
it, man.
Mr. Karma. What's the premise? Well, this guy beats the shit out of people who domestically abuse kids and women, and they get their karma next time they do it.
It's the Equalizer, it's the Punisher, it's Superman all in one. And dude, think about
and you're
that.
A shapeshifter.
PC. It's PC. I go from a man to a woman whenever I decide to.
Right. Oh, dude, it will get so much backing from Hollywood. We just have to pull the trigger. We got to look for capital on this stuff. We got to start looking for capital.
I'm not going to be the actor, okay? I just have the idea. Somebody else can write it, produce it, all that.
Yeah, I'm sure as shit not handsome enough to be an actor, not even in a Farm King advertisement. So, by the way, Farm King is a farm store where, man, have you ever seen like a farm store catalog? Even the dude, like, I don't know if I've ever seen farmers that handsome.
No, they don't exist.
They're not. Like they're not real farmers. They're just paid.
I say that. I went to college with a dude named Luke, and this guy was he was just like, farm strength. Farm strength is a different level of strength.
Yep.
And he was just this big dude, and all the guys were like, man, Luke is the greatest guy. Like, he's a super solid guy, but we all hate him because he's like huge, he's jacked, he's handsome, he plays the guitar, all the women like him, and we're just like, dude, you got to leave some for the rest of us.
Exactly.
So back when we're doing like the wrestling nights, my buddy Brad, the same one who checked the dude in the Florida club, everyone's like, dude, somebody should wrestle Luke. And I'm thinking, I would wrestle him, but he's so big, like I really don't have a chance. And Luke had no wrestling experience whatsoever. So Brad's like, dude, I'll wrestle him. Everyone's like, oh, this is going to be good. Brad ends up getting him in a guillotine because, again, Luke has no clue what's happening. And he's a very quiet but very competitive guy. And so as soon as he gets choked out with the guillotine, he taps and he goes, again. And the and literally everybody just kind of like froze, looked, and we're like, oh crap. And Luke goes, again. And Brad's just like, he came down off that high quickly, and he's like, okay. Luke picks him up by the throat, picks a dude your size up by the throat, slams him on his back, and just full mounts and just straight hand chokes him. And to see the fear in a big dude's eyes, like Brad, who's just like, he just doesn't know what to do. And it's happening right in front of us. I'm like, that's scary to me.
Oh,
that's really scary to me that there's a guy who can just straight pick somebody up by the throat, slam him on the ground. That's that big. And after that, nobody ever had the idea to wrestle Luke again. So,
dude, it's great that Luke was able to control himself throughout his life because maybe he didn't. Maybe he's in federal prison right now. But it's glad because you get a guy like that who doesn't know his own strength in a fighting situation. Number one, pure size alone, no one's messing with this dude. All right. No. Number two, if somebody ever did mess with him, that's how accidents happen. right?
Yep.
Some drunk asshole decides to go mess with this Luke buddy of yours, and Luke doesn't want to fight, but he gets backed into a corner, and he's big and he's strong as shit, and he just actually snaps somebody,
neck.
snap a neck, or picks him up and slams him down or throws him down and like falls on top of him, and major damage happens.
Yep.
Man.
Oh, you just crushed his skull with your fist.
Exactly.
Oh,
he's
I
gonna
didn't
die.
realize it. I just got upset a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
Oh, crap.
Dang, dude. All right. I know you have to leave now. I wish we could do more, but this is the third installment? Is this the third episode we've recorded?
Yeah.
All right. So
the two douchebags, one podcast.
the two Ds, one podcast. Go to iTunes, leave a 5-star review. Talk, maybe share a story about how there's douchebags that you know. Go to Spotify, wherever you download your podcast, subscribe. And do we got to leave these guys with any words of wisdom before we shut her down today?
Just know who you're fighting before you fight them.
Yeah. And try not to be a douchebag. Don't
be a douchebag. Don't be the guy who starts the fight. And then before you jump in, just know who you're fighting.
Yeah. Sometimes that's hard. Sometimes you don't know who you're fighting, but don't be the guy who starts a fight, gets their ass kicked because you started it, and then tries to take legal action against the guy who beat your ass.
Yeah.
Right. That's like the biggest pussy douchebag move. Can you be a pussy and a douchebag?
Level. Yep.
Boss level douchebag. Yeah.
Yep.
Start shit, get your ass kicked, then try to sue somebody.
No.
Don't be that guy.
Don't do it.